I would just like to, we were meant to have Sarah Richards speaking here at this session, but she's not very well, so she couldn't make it. So we're going to hear from three people, one of whom is Sarah's daughter, Chloe, Lukundo, and Paul Weston. I think just to look at some seeds for the future. We've set ourselves these priorities as a movement of seeking to become effective again in evangelism, of seeking again to engage in church planting, and thirdly, to see leaders raised up and trained and equipped who are able to shape society. And so if I can invite Chloe, Lukundo, and Paul to come and join me up here, that would be great. Thank you. Let's welcome them. Here, yeah. So we'll start with Chloe. Chloe Richards, everybody. So Chloe, tell us a bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name's Chloe. I'm from Swansea, and I work 2 days for Cornerstone, heading up all the student stuff there, 2 days for Alpha across Wales, and then 1 day a week I'm doing a part-time PhD in theology.
And what's your topic or your thesis or your subject?
Doing it on mission for the millennials. So the classic 18s to 30s are missing from the church. I'm doing an academic study around that and why, how we can get them back.
And you're heading up with Alpha as well across Wales, you said.
Yeah.
So that's quite a lot on your plate.
Yeah, nice and busy.
I think you must get that from your mum and dad, eh? So tell us a bit about Alpha across Wales, first of all, and then we can talk a bit more about your learning.
Yeah, so Alpha, I don't know if you know, but there's the new film series out. It's been out for about a year now. So basically, I'm going across Wales, kind of promoting the film series, saying it's not really what it's been before, where you wait for the annual church Alpha to roll out. But actually, with the film series, it's still Alpha, but you just watch a 20-minute clip and then have the discussion. And it means that anyone can run it anytime, any place, anywhere. So you're not waiting for the big one, or you're not waiting for like a preacher to come in and preach it. You can just watch the video. So there's stories of like mums at the school gate in Cardiff who couldn't make the church Alpha, so she said, "Oh, come round and the kids will play and we'll watch Alpha and have tea and cake." Or there's some lads who, before they had football training, they watched it in the where they changed and stuff, and then go out and play football, or students in their house or in the pub. Like, you can do it anywhere, any place. So it's really changed how Alpha works. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you are learning about how we can become more effective in evangelism, particularly with your generation? Most people who come to Christ do get saved in their teens and 20s. And so tell us a bit about what you're seeing across Wales and what you're learning.
Okay, so I've just finished so my PhD is 6 years because it's part-time. So I've just finished 2 whole years of studying like the millennials in depth. So there's so much on them, but I'm just going to give you like a brief 2 minutes on the millennials, and bear in mind it's a broad generalization, but these are some of the key things that I've kind of learned about millennials, and that's kind of shaped how we do mission as a church. So I'll say that and then talk about the mission bit. So millennials, they're ambitious, they're happy, they love teamwork, they have a lot going for them, but also they have this other side where they also seem like lazy, addicted to technology, this kind of thing. And there's a researcher in America who's coined this term that they're a generation of paradox. So I'm going to talk about this really briefly. So the millennials, they live in a constant state of paradox. So they're sheltered, but they're also pressured. So there's this thing where their helicopter parents, sorry, any parents, have swooped in and helped them with everything, from arguments in this playground in school all the way through to getting them a job interview at the workplace. So they're very overprotective, but they're also very anxious and pressured, and there's a lot more anxiety among this generation which is surfacing. They're quite self-absorbed, but they're also generous. So they spend more time and money on themselves, but they're also quicker to give it away. They're social, but isolated by technology. So they love being around people all the time, but also often those people is through a device. They're adventurous but protected. They're team-orientated but diverse, so they're used to working in a team. They love that community, but they're also quite racially diverse. They expect equality in everything. They're visionary but facilitating. So they want to change the world, but they have that kind of non-committal attitude. So they think they can change the world, but they just stuck on the sofa on their iPad. They're high achieving, but they're high maintenance. So they're confident and think that they can do everything, but also they're quite hard work in that you need to keep encouraging us and tell us we're doing a great job. And so, thanks, I'm doing a great job. So that is just, 2-minute snippet of 2 years of work. But because of this is kind of what, how we've shaped our mission as a church for the 18s to 30s. So one of the main things we do is we do what Jesus did, and we have more parties. So Jesus, he was at weddings, he was at house parties, he had picnics with fish and bread, he was at Zacchaeus' house for tea. So we organize loads of parties where we can invite our non-Christian friends to. So for example, in September just gone, we turn up at the Freshers' Fair for all the students, and previously we've handed out, invites to church. If you're ever interested in a local church, this is us. And it wasn't quite working. So I thought, this year, what if we tried inviting them to a party? So we had, come to a party, come to a party. Our university is right on the beach. It's actually the closest uni to a beach in the whole world. I know. So I thought, we'll throw a beach party and invite them. So come to a party, come to a party, come to a party. So 10,000 students got these invites. And everyone was like, oh, this looks really good, I'm going to come. And I suddenly was like, oh no, what have I done? We're going to have 10,000 students on the beach. But the night came, and we had 250 non-Christians turn up, 18s to 30s, and we had a big bonfire and hot dogs and crisps and played volleyball and just had a party. And at that beach party, our students decided that, we'll invite everyone to an alpha. We won't slip a little gospel messaging halfway through. We'll just do a party, but we'll run an alpha next week at the pub, which is on campus, and we'll invite them, not with a big, hi everyone, welcome to the party, but in that conversation, as you go around with those 250, give them an invite to alpha. So the following week, we started alpha in the pub, and we had 28 non-Christians turn up at alpha. On the third week, 2 girls who are actually in sixth form, and they were brought along with one of the lads, they got saved. So they're now plugged in church and come into small groups. And they said to me, they were like, we'd love to do this for all our friends in sixth form. I was like, great, let's do it. So we started an alpha about 6 weeks ago at lunchtime in their school, and we've had about 30 of their friends turn up, giving up their lunchtime in school to come and learn about Jesus. And last week, 6 of them gave their lives to Jesus at alpha. So that's amazing. So yeah, people are really up for it. The young people, they're keen, they're interested. Times have changed, not just young people, I think everyone, but times have changed where they're not going to turn you away. They're really interested. A couple of weeks ago, I was actually having dinner with my group of girls who are from school, and they're non-Christians. And one of my friends brought her friend Beth, who is in the workplace with her. So none of us know Beth. So all my girls go off to the toilet. So I'm with this new girl, Beth. And Beth's like, what do you do? And I was like, I work for the church, and explained. She's like, but you've got a glass of wine with your dinner. And I was like, yeah, well, Jesus turned water into wine. I can have a drink. I'm just not going to get smashed. Anyway, when the girls came back, I then went to the toilet. And I came back, and the girls were all laughing and shaking their heads. And they're like, we leave you with the new girl for 2 minutes, and you tell her Jesus turns water into wine. But I tell this story to all the young people in my church, because I'm like, people are so interested. That girl Beth then went on to come to church, and people want to know. They want to know about God. So that's one of the great stories.
Amazing. If you got saved in your teens or 20s, can you stand up? If you got saved in your teens or 20s? Teens or 20s, or even younger, but no older. No older. Teens or 20s, good. Okay. Look around. It's a new generation, okay? So I think we can see some of the future. Great, thank you. One more.
Okay, so another thing which I think is really helpful to see evangelism for the millennials is discipling our young people really well, that I really believe that half the job when it comes to witnessing to millennials is lifestyle and living differently to the culture that millennials are around all the time. And so as church leaders, and I'd say like really invest in your young people, use them, develop them, put them into leadership, but also help them with their lifestyle. How should they live holy, godly lives? A couple of weeks ago on Valentine's Day, we did a big night on like relationships and dating and sex, and loads of the students were like, I've been told that I shouldn't have sex before marriage, but I don't know anything else. Like, what about the other stuff? I've never been told what I can and can't do. So we went into like the nitty-gritty of everything, and they were like, wow, I've never known that. They actually don't know, so teach them. Sin is kind of like dumbed down for the millennials. Not many millennials believe in sin. They don't think it exists. So we kind of need to educate our Christian millennials what it means to live holy, godly lives. And make it practical. Like, how do you invite someone to church? Before the beach party, I gathered like some of our 20s and 30s and said, okay, what would make you go to the gym? If someone handed you an invite and a leaflet and said, oh, you should come to the gym, you probably wouldn't go to the gym. But if a friend said, this gym is so good, the instructors are really friendly, it's really fun, I've lost so much weight, I feel all fit and healthy, there's great classes, you should come with me. You'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll try the gym. And I was like, it's the same with everything, evangelistic event or church or Alpha. We have to have that like integrity ourselves to say, this means something for me, you should come along. So we kind of train them up. How would you invite someone to the Alpha on the pub? So when you're at the beach, it's not just, oh, here, come to Alpha, but it's like, it's really good, you should come. So they had confidence to speak and invite, creating that invitational culture that it's normal to invite their friends to things, not just church, but events, and that those events are strategic. It's not just a party for the sake of having a party, but actually it all links on to something. There's a party, which then means there's an Alpha, which then invites them to a curry night, which then invites them to church, or, the Christmas service, and it all links, so it's all strategic. So disciple your young people really well, create that invitational culture, teach them how to live godly, holy lives, because they'll then be living out Jesus day to day with all their friends. Their friends notice something different. They invite them to something. They see the church is normal and want to come back, and then they get saved, and then they go out, and it's just a circle, and
Beautiful.
Works well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing, eh? Amazing. So the God who has done it before can do it again. And if you have no young people in your church, pray that God will bring some along. People like Chloe. Not her, but people like her. Lukundo, how old are you?
29.
29. If you lead a church or involved in church leadership, can you stand up, please? You lead a church, involved in church leadership. If you begun to lead a church in your 20s, stay standing, everyone else sit down. If you began to lead a church when you were in your 20s, stay on your feet. Okay, so about half the people in this room who lead churches began to lead when they were in their 20s. It's important to note, okay? Thank you. Lukundo, what have you just done, you and your husband, Dami?
So Dami and I, as well as the team we're in, which is John and Lauren, amazing guys, we planted out a site of King's Church, Manchester, into Higher Blackley. So this will be our 7th Sunday meeting.
Woo.
This coming Sunday. No, excited.
So why did you do that? What was your motivation? What was your challenge or calling to get involved in church planting?
Sure. So prior to that, we were part of the team that led the site that met here in the evening. And a couple of years ago, when we moved to the north side of Manchester, so it was Dami and I, it's quite a journey actually, we moved to the north of Manchester, and at that point we started to feel Holy Spirit stir, and we used to joke about it. Oh, imagine if King's Church plants into North Manchester. And we would joke about it as we drove around. And then sure enough, about a year later, as the leadership team began to pray, and really felt, yeah, God's calling us into the north of Manchester and the south of Manchester. And we still sort of, oh, okay, someone else is going to do it. I'm sure someone else is going to do it, but we'll support them. We'll pray for them. It will be great. But then still feeling really tugged by Holy Spirit and just saying, I've moved you here for a reason. And so that journey continued, and we just continued to pray, continued to search, and God opened doors quite quickly, actually. From the space of deciding to go and plant to physically planting was really quick, but really exciting. So that's how we ended up there.
So 7 weeks in, what you're learning, what's exciting, what's challenging?
Exciting. Lots of people are really excited about it and taking ownership of it. I think we're quite a big community here, and sometimes people can be on the fringes. And when you move into a smaller setting, people take a lot more ownership and are getting plugged in. It's great to see people come alive, people who are stepping into doing more because they see a gap, which is great. It's like there's no one to do this, and people just step up and do stuff. And people becoming really passionate and finding their voice as well. It's really stretching. It's really exciting, but really stretching. And we're particularly young leadership team who are leading people now who are of various ages. So we've got people who are way older than us, and we've got babies, and there's like a broad range. So that's stretching us, but growing us as well. So that's exciting to do as well. Yeah.
Fantastic, amazing. Now, across the network, in the survey that we filled out, there were 11 new expressions of church planted in the last year, which is amazing. You know, not all full church plants, but either a congregational expression or a site plan from a larger church. And so it's good to see what's beginning to happen. If you haven't grown for a while, my encouragement to you would be think about doing something new. Somewhere else, a different building, a different location, and see what the Lord does. It's almost as you take a step of faith, as these guys have done, things open up that you didn't anticipate before you went on that journey. The Lord who has done it before can do it again.